Hi, everybody. My name is Yale Cohen, and this is Kristen Hodge, our lead of design, and I'm the founder of StandWith. 5 years ago, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and my life was irreparably changed. My father and I became her primary caregivers, and we went from having to manage just our day-to-day responsibilities to also taking care of mom and keeping everybody updated. It was overwhelming, we were emotionally compromised, and we struggled to get everything done. We used the best tools we had possible, but they weren't good enough. A community of mom's family and friends formed around her, and the first question everybody asked was, how can I help? And we needed all sorts of help. And what we've realized at StandWith was there's three main types of supporters: people who have time, people who have money, and people who had skills. We had no idea who was who and how to begin asking, so we ended up with fortune bouquets of flowers and no food in the fridge. That's why I built StandWith. StandWith allows patients and caregivers to post what they need and supporters to accept what they can. We allow the community to self-select so that people can say yes to what they can do instead of no to what they can't. So let's take a look at the demo. So this is what my screen would have looked like as my mom's caregiver, or it could have been what her screen looked like if she had chosen to manage her own account. I'm going to skip the sign up. We all know how to sign up for an app: Facebook, Google, email. When you sign up, you invite your supporters, and you categorize them into three groups: family, friends, and acquaintances. Because when you're dealing with sensitive information like this, sometimes you want to target who that goes to. So I would have invited mom's family and friends. My home screen is my task screen, and we can see that I've already added a few, and right now we'll go and add another task. There's pre-categorized buckets, and this was intentional because I might be posting that I need somebody to bring food to the hospital because we haven't eaten all day, but I see the laundry app, I see the dog walking app, I see the childcare app, and I'm prompted to ask for help that I might not even thought I needed or might not have thought to ask for until it was too late. Today we're going to post a personal comfort item. So I go to my blank input form, we type that we need a wedge pillow. I can set a pickup location. In this case, I don't care where it comes from, so I leave it blank. I set my drop-off location and my due date. If this is an urgent task, I can mark it as so, and it sends a push notification to the selected group. And in this case, it's not a private matter, so everybody can see it, and we post. You can see that it gets added to my task screen, where I can get an overview of the status of every existing task. And it's a basic stoplight system. Red means action is needed, nobody has accepted or completed this task. Green means it's been accepted and completed. And yellow or orange means that it's pending. Somebody's accepted it, but they haven't completed it yet. I can also go over to the update screen where I can post updates on how mom's doing: text, photo, video, audio, and I can target them to a specific group. So much of our time was spent keeping people updated because that's how we show support. We ask questions. How is she doing? What can I do? Which isn't actually helpful to the patient or the caregiver. It just puts more on our plate. So we've streamlined the process of keeping people updated and getting them the information they need to actually help the patient. Now let's go over to my mom's best friend's phone. She's gotten a push notification that we need a wedge pillow. She logs in and she can see all of the information for the task, when it's due and where it needs to go. She is unable to get to the shop, she doesn't know where to get this, or she lives in a different city. So she can leverage our digital integration and fulfill in-app with one of our partners. She'll choose to do it with Amazon in this case. She chooses the product that she needs, she logs out, all of the address forms will be pre-populated, and you can see that the task is now marked as complete in her screen as well as in mine. She can take a look at what else we need help with. She can filter by status or category. She can also click on the calendar icon to get a longer lead view of what we need done. And let's go back to the presentation. We're going to be rolling out with select charity partners that may include some of the ones you'll see to make sure that we get this into the hands of people that need it now the most. There are 35 million inpatient admissions in the US every year. That doesn't even begin to address ER, outpatient, chronic illness, and old age. These are areas where people could use some help, and they're all potential clients. As expected, we're taking an affiliate approach to revenue, as well as the sale of default vendor status, brand deals, and we'll be doing some community-conscious advertising. Everything about the app is clean and tactful. Our monetization schemes will be as well. We can move on. At the moment, we're entirely focused on building StandWith Health to the best of our ability, but there's obvious implications into other life events. So new life, marriage, end of life, and those are all things that we'll be looking at in the future. But for now, you can go to standwith.com to sign up for our closed beta. Thank you.
All right, great job. Judges, you want to jump in?
Great job with the presentation. Cancer is a terrible thing, and that's great that you're giving back to both the community and society with that. One of my friends went through cancer recently, and we used Caregivers, which I think what I would characterize as kind of a Web 1.0 solution for the community. Can you talk just a little bit more about how you see the competitive landscape? I think your product looked tremendous. Who else do you consider to be competitors within this vertical?
So I'll clarify that this is not just for cancer. This is disease agnostic.
Yeah.
I use cancer because that's where my background is. And there are some competitors, but most of them take medical information, so they have to be HIPAA and COPA compliant, which we don't, as well as they're not clean and simple. You know, I've spent the last 5 years in the space after my mom got sick, who's sitting over there. I started a charity called Fuck Cancer. And so I have spent every day for the last 6 years dealing with this, and we know the experience so well. We've simplified it. We've really stripped out everything you don't need, and we've helped make, you know, healthcare, this sort of healthcare, you know, communal function.
Great.
Cool. Could you talk a little bit about the team that is running in the background?
Yes. So as I said, you know, my experience comes from the emotional side of healthcare. I'm not a doctor, but we deal with the experience of illness on a daily basis. I've gone through it with my own family more times than I care to count, and with our communities thousands of times. And then I have two Israeli co-founders, Ori Birnbaum and Ron Zuckerman, who are Israeli serial entrepreneurs that have been in the business for over 20 years. Between them, we have Kristen, who is our head of design, and we have Nick, who's our product manager and was at eBay prior to this.
Cool. And engineering?
Engineering, our dev team we use a firm out of the Ukraine that are fantastic and cheap.
Okay, so that's basically these guys building iPhone for you. And are you considering taking that actually in-house?
Yeah, and obviously after we fundraise, we'll be looking at bringing that in-house, but this was the quickest, easiest, and best way to get a V1 out the door.
Okay, got it, thanks.
Can you, well done and a great pitch. Can you just talk a little bit about how you think about how you want to scale this out? So assuming you go forward, you get funded, how do you think about really getting this out there and going to scale quickly?
So the first thing obviously is user acquisition, and we have a unique strategy there because we're going to go to charities. And right there you have huge user bases of people who need this now. So the first step is really getting into the hands of users. And one user multiplies drastically because one patient is 3 to 30 caregivers, and the next time somebody they love gets ill, they know to use this. So it's, you know, your current users are always your largest ambassadors.
Why are charities well suited to bringing this out? Are they engaged? Why would they be engaged in an app like this?
Because if I get cancer, I go to, you know, Fuck Cancer or Livestrong or the American Cancer Society. If I have a heart attack, stroke, diabetes, MS, I find my community within a charity, and whether that's a large charity or a small one, I go and get the information I need, and I often want to feel a part of a community of people that understand me. And so they have access to the people who are going through this now or have gone through it in the past.
Do you think there's an opportunity to allow people to get help from people that aren't necessarily in their immediate community in terms of family and friends, and what does that look like?
We've looked at that in terms of a give back and allowing people, you know, to be anonymous and offer help. But it's not something we'd be rolling out at least for a year because we would have to strip all of the personal information. But it's a beautiful way to let people help someone in their community. You can geolocate. All of this is tied into your maps and your calendar. So instead of going down to the food bank, you know, you can give a family in need down the street. You can send them a meal or something that they need. But it's definitely not something we're going to be rolling in V1.
Is there ever a fly ball problem where someone says, like, I need this, and they post it, and then you're not directing it toward anyone in particular, and it just kind of sits there and no one calls it?
I mean, it's definitely something that could happen. In this case, if you come within 24 hours of 36, we're deciding which one is the best, of a post expiring and it hasn't been accepted, it'll get reposted with the push notification as urgent. And generally, a community member will step in, but also you can make a plan for it at that point. for the most part, these are tasks you might not have even been asking for help with in the first place.
So do you have this currently out in market with even your families or your friends, or how are you using this today?
We're going to close beta today. And closed beta meaning that the only, hopefully patients are the only ones that are using this right now in their community. We don't want everybody signing up. We want to make sure that the people who need it get it first, and we can perfect it as we grow it. And our wide launch will probably be in early fall.
Any other questions? All right, great job, you guys.
Thank you so much.
That was
Thank you.
StandWidth.
Thank you.